Rain hammered against the windows of the small bookstore in Harlem. Beyoncé Monroe pressed her back against the storage room door, her hand clamped over 4-year-old Zara's mouth. Not rough. Never rough. But firm enough to keep her daughter silent. Through the crack beneath the door, shadows moved. 3 sets of feet. Heavy. Deliberate. Men who didn't need to rush because they believed they had all the time in the world. Zara's eyes were impossibly wide in the darkness. Dark brown. Ringed with flecks of gold that caught whatever light they could find. Eyes that didn't belong to Beyoncé. Eyes she saw in her nightmares and her memories. Eyes that made old church ladies in the grocery store pause and ask, "Now who's her daddy?" With that particular tone that said they already knew he wasn't black. Beyoncé's phone vibrated in her pocket. She pulled it out with trembling fingers. Unknown ***, we found you. Bring us the files or the girl pays the price. The files. 3 months of investigative work documenting a smuggling operation that stretched from Seoul to New York. Evidence that could topple an empire. Evidence that had just signed their death warrant. Wood splintered in the front of the store. Glass shattered. A man shouted in Korean. Beyoncé had maybe 30 seconds. 30 seconds to undo 5 years of running. 5 years of raising a daughter who asked questions like, "Why doesn't my hair curl like yours, mama? And why do people stare at us?" 5 years of pretending that the most dangerous man she'd ever loved didn't exist. Her thumb hovered over a contact she'd saved but never called. A contact labeled simply JK. Jang Kwon-min. The man with a smile that could disarm diplomats and eyes that had watched men die without flinching. The man whose criminal empire touched 3 continents. The man whose daughter was currently shaking in her arms, her loose curls, not kinky like Beyoncé's, not straight like his, but something in between, pressed against Beyoncé's neck. The storage room door handle rattled. Beyoncé press call. Halfway across the world, in a glass tower overlooking Seoul's financial district, that phone began to ring. "Hello, beautiful souls. I see you watching and I need you to do something for me right now. This story, it's about love that crosses oceans and cultures, about a sister who had to protect her baby by any means necessary, and about a man who had to choose between his empire and his family. But here's the thing. I pour my heart and soul into creating these stories for you, and the only way I know you want more is if you hit that subscribe button. So do me a favor right now. Smash that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, and if you've ever had to make an impossible choice for love. Are you Team Beyoncé or Team Kuan? Let me know. Now let's dive deep into this story. ***. 5 years earlier, Beyoncé Monroe had walked into the Metropolitan Museum of Art fundraiser with one goal: expose the corruption festering in New York's art world. At 28, she'd already built a reputation as an investigative journalist who didn't back down. A black woman in a field that loved to put her in boxes. Urban affairs, they'd suggest. Community stories. Like she couldn't handle the big leagues. She'd proven them wrong repeatedly. Her exposé on pharmaceutical price fixing had won a Polk Award. Her series on real estate fraud had gotten 2 developers indicted. But this assignment, tracing stolen artifacts being laundered through high society auctions, this was her chance to break into the kind of stories that got you remembered. She hadn't expected him. Jang Kwon-min stood near a Monet, champagne in hand, looking like he belonged in a magazine spread. Tailored midnight blue suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Sharp jawline. Hair perfectly styled. But it was his eyes that stopped her. Dark, intelligent, measuring everything and everyone with the precision of a predator. She dealt with enough powerful men to recognize the type. Except most powerful men didn't look at her the way he did. Like she was the most interesting thing in the room, not an oddity or a token. "You're staring," he said without turning his head. Beyoncé blinked, pulling herself together. "Excuse me." He turned then, and the hint of a smile played at his lips. "At the painting. You've been staring at it for 3 minutes. Most people don't last 30 seconds. She recovered quickly, code switching without even thinking about it, softening her Atlanta accent. adjusting her cadence to match the room's energy. Most people don't appreciate impressionism. And you do. I appreciate things that reveal themselves slowly, layer by layer. His smile widened. Jang Kwanmin. He extended his hand. Beyoncé Monroe. She shook it, noting how his grip was firm but not performative. Some men shook her hand like they were trying to prove something. He didn't need to. The journalist, he said. I've read your work. That piece on pharmaceutical companies was brilliant. The way you connected the paper trail through 3 shell corporations, impressive. She raised an eyebrow. You read investigative journalism about corporate fraud? I read everything. Know your world, know your enemies. He paused. And your allies? Which am I? I haven't decided yet. They talked for an hour. Then 2. He was charming, sharp-witted, well-traveled. Spoke 5 languages. Had opinions on everything from Korean cinema to Miles Davis. Asked about her family, really asked, not the polite small talk that white folks usually offered. My grandmother raised me in Atlanta, she found herself saying. Taught me that being excellent wasn't optional. That I'd have to be twice as good to get half as far. Sounds like my father, Kwanmin said. Different country, same lesson. Perfection or poverty. No middle ground. Something in his tone made her look at him differently. Beneath the expensive suit and easy charm, there was something harder. Something earned. That should have been her first warning. 3 weeks later, she was in his penthouse apartment in Midtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimalist furniture. Art that probably cost more than her student loans. She'd changed after work. Traded her professional blazer for a wrap dress that showed her curves. Taken her hair out of the bun she wore to the office. Let her natural curls fall loose the way she preferred when she wasn't performing respectability. Kwanmin stared when she walked in. What? She asked. You're even more beautiful when you're not code switching. The observation caught her completely off guard. What makes you think I code switch? Because I do it too. Different accent, same survival mechanism. He handed her a glass of wine. In business meetings, I'm one person. With my family in Seoul, I'm another. With you. He paused. I'm trying to figure out who I want to be. That honesty disarmed her. Tell me something real, she said, settling onto his couch. What do you actually do? Because nobody has this much money from international consulting. Silence stretched between them. Then he crossed to the window, hands in his pockets. I move things, he said finally. Products. Information. Solutions to problems that require discretion. That's a very polite way of saying you're a criminal. He didn't deny it. I provide services that exist in the spaces between laws. Gray areas. Gray areas, she repeated. Like what? Nothing that hurts innocent people. That's not an answer. He turned to face her. The world isn't black and white, Beyoncé. Sometimes it's just different shades of compromise. She stood up. Don't do that. Don't talk to me like I don't understand how the world works. I'm a black woman in America. I know all about compromises in gray areas and systems that aren't designed for me. But I also know the difference between survival and cruelty. And you think I'm cruel? I think you're something. I just can't figure out what yet. She should have left. Should have run. Instead she stayed. For 4 months they existed in their own bubble. He showed her Seoul during a business trip. Night markets where Ajumma sold tteokbokki and didn't blink at seeing her with a Korean man. Hidden temples where the smell of incense mixed with rain. Restaurants where they didn't speak English and didn't need to. People keep staring, she'd said on their second day there. At your beauty, he'd replied smoothly. At my blackness. Let's be real. Both can be true. He'd taken her hand. Seoul isn't as diverse as New York. But anyone who has a problem can take it up with me. The protective edge in his voice made something warm bloom in her chest. He was generous, attentive, surprisingly gentle. Learned how to take care of her natural hair when she stayed over. Actually researched what satin pillowcases to buy, what products to keep in his bathroom. Small things that white men she dated never thought about. But shadows followed him everywhere. Men in dark suits who stood too close. Phones that rang at odd hours with conversations in languages she didn't understand. A tension in his shoulders that never fully relaxed. Her grandmother had called from Atlanta one evening. Beyoncé stepped onto the balcony to take it. "How's that man treating you?" Grandma Jean asked in that tone that meant she already knew the answer and was testing for lies. "He's good to me, Grandma." Good to you and good for you are two different things, baby. Your granddaddy was good to me too. Brought flowers every Friday. Still drank himself to death by 50. It's not like that. Just remember, you can love somebody and still walk away. Sometimes walking away is the love. Beyoncé didn't understand what she meant. Not until the night everything shattered. She'd followed him. She wasn't proud of it, but her journalist instincts screamed that something was wrong. He'd been tense all week, distracted, taking calls in other rooms. She watched from across the street as he entered a warehouse in Red Hook. Watched as men with guns, actual guns, patrolled the perimeter. Watched as two men dragged someone out, bloodied and pleading in Korean. Watched as Kuan stood there, hands in his pockets, expression carved from stone. He said something. The beaten man shook his head frantically. Kuan spoke again, quieter this time. One of the guards raised his weapon. Beyoncé's hand shook so badly she nearly dropped her phone. Kuan gave a single, almost imperceptible nod. The gunshot cracked through the night. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her head. Sometimes walking away is the love. By morning she was gone. Packed a bag, emptied her bank account, bought a bus ticket to Philadelphia. Left no note, no explanation. Just vanished the way her ancestors had vanished on the Underground Railroad, because sometimes survival meant leaving everything behind. 6 weeks later, she took a pregnancy test in a gas station bathroom. 2 pink lines changed everything. She called her grandmother, crying so hard she could barely speak. "Baby, slow down. Tell Grandma what's wrong. I'm pregnant." And the father, "Grandma, he's dangerous. He hurt people. Killed someone. I saw it." Silence on the line. Then, "Does he know about the baby?" "No." "Do you want him to know?" Beyoncé thought about Kuan's smile. His gentleness with her. The way he looked at her like she mattered. Then she thought about the gunshot. The body. The casual violence. "No. I can't bring a baby into that." "Then you won't. Come home to Atlanta. We'll figure it out together. I don't want to put you in danger. Child, I survived Jim Crow, a trifling husband, and raising you. I can handle whatever comes. Now get yourself on a bus and come home." Beyoncé went home. Her grandmother's house in the old Fourth Ward was exactly as she remembered. Small. Neat. Smelling like cedar and the coconut oil Grandma Jean used on her hair. "Let me see you," Grandma Jean said, pulling her into the house. She studied Beyoncé's face, then her belly. "How far along?" 8 weeks. "And you're keeping it?" "Yes." Grandma Jean nodded. "Then we'll make it work. But baby, you need to understand something. That child is gonna come out looking like both of you. Can't hide from that." She was right. When Zara was born, she came out with loose curls that were neither kinky nor straight, golden brown skin that was lighter than Beyoncé's deeper brown, and those eyes. Those unmistakable eyes flecked with gold. The church ladies at Ebenezer Baptist had opinions. "She's beautiful, but who's the father? Is he in the picture?" One of those Asian men. "I saw it on the news, they like our women now." Beyoncé learned to smile and say, "He's not involved," in a tone that shut down further questions. But raising a biracial daughter in a black community came with questions she hadn't anticipated. "Mama, why doesn't my hair puff up like yours?" 3-year-old Zara had asked, watching Beyoncé twist her own hair. "Because you got your daddy's hair mixed with mine, baby. Makes yours special." "Where is my daddy?" The question Beyoncé had been dreading. "He lives far away." "Does he know about me?" "No, baby." "Why not? How do you explain to a child that you ran from their father because you watched him order a murder?" That you loved him and feared him in equal measure? That sometimes the people we love are also the people we can't let into our lives? Sometimes grown-ups make hard choices to protect the people they love, Beyoncé had said carefully. Grandma Jean had given her a look that said they'd talk about this later. When Zara turned 4, Beyoncé moved them to New York. A fresh start, better journalism opportunities, distance from questions she didn't want to answer. She found a small apartment in Harlem, enrolled Zara in a preschool where half the kids were mixed or multiracial, and threw herself back into investigative work. That's when she stumbled onto the smuggling network. It started with art theft, stolen African artifacts being moved through New York galleries. She followed the trail to shipping companies, then to shell corporations, then to something much bigger and darker. And there, buried in financial records, was a name she tried to forget: Kuan. Her hands had shaken as she stared at the documents. 5 years. 5 years of running, of building a new life, of convincing herself she'd moved on. And here he was, his fingerprints all over a criminal network that made the warehouse shooting look like nothing. She kept digging. Found evidence of smuggling operations spanning 3 continents. Weapons, counterfeit goods, and worse, much worse, human trafficking. That's when the threats started. Anonymous messages. Stop digging. Then we know where you live. Then, * your daughter is very pretty. Would be a shame if something happened to her. * Beyoncé had immediately pulled Zara from preschool. Started varying their routes. Stopped posting on social media. Went full paranoia mode. But it wasn't enough. Tonight they'd found her. And now she was hiding in a storage room, her daughter trembling in her arms, calling the one person who might be more dangerous than the men hunting them. In Seoul, Kuan sat in his office as rain streaked the windows. 33 years old. Built an empire from nothing. Controlled shipping routes, information networks, money flows that most governments couldn't track. And yet, a woman with warm brown skin and eyes that saw straight through him had walked out of his life without a trace. He'd searched. Of course he'd searched. Used every resource at his disposal. But Beyoncé Monroe had vanished as completely as if she'd never existed. His people had found her apartment cleared out. Her editor at the newspaper claimed she'd taken a personal leave, no return date. Her friends either genuinely didn't know or were protecting her silence with admirable loyalty. After 4 months he stopped looking. She'd seen who he really was and decided the distance between them was uncrossable. Maybe she was right. Maybe a woman like her, brilliant, principled, beautiful, had no place in a world built on violence and shadows. He told himself it was better this way. 5 years passed. He expanded operations, made more money, gained more power. Everything he'd worked for was his. Everything except the one thing that had made him feel human. His private line rang. The secure one. Only 5 people had the number. Unknown caller. New York area code. After 5 years he knew better than to hope. But he answered anyway. Kuan. Her voice. Breathless. Terrified. Older somehow but unmistakably hers. His hand tightened on the phone. Every muscle in his body went rigid. Beyoncé. I know I have no right. Crash. Glass breaking. A child's scream, high and terrified. Please, she has your eyes and they're going to kill us. The line went dead. Kuan stood frozen. His mind, trained to calculate risk and strategy in microseconds, went completely blank. She has your eyes. A child. His child. The words detonated in his chest like a grenade. Min June. His voice cut through the office like a blade. Trace that call. Now. And get our people in New York. All of them. Min June's fingers flew across his tablet. Location found. 2847 Malcolm X Boulevard, Harlem. A bookstore called Friedman's Legacy. Harlem. Of course. Beyoncé would choose Harlem. How fast can we get a team there? We have assets in Manhattan. 8 minutes if traffic allows. Make it 6. I want eyes on that location immediately. For the first time in 15 years, Kuan felt fear he couldn't control. The bookstore's storage room smelled like old paper, dust, and Beyoncé's own terror. She held Zara against her chest, feeling her daughter's heart hammer like a trapped bird. Outside the door, footsteps moved systematically, searching, getting closer. Her phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown *** 2847 Malcolm X Boulevard. We know you're here. Give us the files. You have 10 minutes. Asterisk. Her phone rang. Kuan. She almost didn't answer. 5 years of silence, and now his voice would be the first thing she heard before dying. Where are you? His voice was controlled, but she could hear the edge beneath it. Harlem. Malcolm X Boulevard. A bookstore called. I know. My people are tracking your signal. Are you hurt? Not yet. The child. A pause. What's her name? Beyoncé closed her eyes. Zara. She's 4. Silence stretched across the ocean. Then quietly. Why didn't you tell me? All the answers rushed to her lips. Asterisk because I watched you kill someone. Because your world is darkness. Because I couldn't let that touch her. Because I was scared. Because I loved you and that made it worse. Asterisk. Because your world eats people alive, she said finally. I couldn't let it eat her. And now the people trying to kill me are worse than you ever were. The words hung between them. An accusation and a plea. Beyoncé, listen to me carefully. I have a team 7 minutes out. Can you last 7 minutes? She looked at the storage room door. The handle was turning. I don't know. Yes, you do. You survived 5 years on your own with a child. You built a life from nothing. 7 minutes is easy. Don't patronize me. I'm not. I'm telling you what I know. You're the strongest person I've ever met. Keep her safe. I'm coming. The door shuttered. Someone hit it from the outside. Zara whimpered against Beyoncé's neck. Mama. 5 minutes, Kuan said. Talk to me about Zara. What's she like? The question was so unexpected that Beyoncé almost laughed. She's stubborn as hell. Asks a million questions. Memorizes everything. She's got your brain. And your courage. She has nightmares sometimes. Asks why kids at school say she doesn't look like me. I tell her beauty comes in all shades, but... Her voice cracked. It's hard. Raising a brown girl who's not quite black enough for some folks. Not quite Asian enough for others. Does she know about me? The door splintered. She asks, where's my daddy? Why doesn't he visit? I told her you live far away. That you don't know about her. You should have told me. I watched you kill a man, Kuan. What was I supposed to do? Bring a baby into that? The door burst open. Beyoncé grabbed Zara and ran. Kuan watched the tracking map on his screen. Every muscle in his body coiled tight. Team Alpha is approaching, Minjun reported. Multiple hostiles confirmed. Civilians present. Civilians meant witnesses. Exposure. But Kuan didn't care. Get her out. By any means necessary. On screen, Beyoncé's signal moved fast. Basement level. Fire exit. Then gunfire. His team engaged. Bodies dropped. Civilians screamed. And then he saw her. Body camera footage showed Beyoncé running through an alley. Zara clutched against her chest. Her hair was in braids now, box braids that swayed as she ran. She wore jeans and a Howard University sweatshirt. She was older. Lines at the corners of her eyes. But still beautiful. Still her. Behind her, hostiles closed in. Neutralize them, Kuan ordered. His team moved. Shots fired. Hostiles down. But not before one got a shot off. Beyoncé stumbled. Blood bloomed on her shoulder. Kuan's heart stopped. But she kept running. Kept protecting their daughter. His team surrounded her. Formed a shield. Moved her to the vehicle. Package secure, Park reported. Mother has a graze wound. Child appears unharmed. Moving to extraction. Kuan exhaled. Get them on a plane. Private airfield. Medical team standing by. I want them in Seoul in 12 hours. Destination confirmed. Kuan turned to Minjun. Find out who authorized the hit. I want names. I want to know everyone involved. He pulled up files. Started connecting dots. The smuggling network Beyoncé had uncovered. The trafficking routes. The financial trails. All of it led back to one person. I'm Taeyong, his Southeastern Division head. Someone he'd trusted. Someone who just tried to kill the mother of his child. Kuan expression went cold. Minjun. Get me everything on Taeyong. Every communication. Every transaction. Every breath he's taken in the last year. Sir. Now. The private jet was quiet. Too quiet after all the chaos. Beyoncé sat rigid in her seat, her shoulder bandaged where the bullet had grazed her. It burned, but she barely felt it. Adrenaline still coursed through her veins. Zara was finally asleep against her chest, worn down by terror. Her braids were messy, ribbons half undone. Her stuffed rabbit, the one Beyoncé's grandmother had made, was clutched tight in her small fists. A medic had checked them both. Zara was physically unharmed. Beyoncé would heal. But the emotional damage. She looked around the jet. Leather seats. Expensive everything. This was Kuan's world. Wealth built on violence. And she just dragged her daughter into it. The cabin door opened. Kuan's security chief, Park, she'd learned, entered with a tablet. Ms. Monroe. We'll land in Seoul in 9 hours. Medical team will be waiting. You and your daughter will be taken to a secure location. I don't need his charity. Park's expression remained neutral. With respect, ma'am, you called him. And he mobilized everything to get you out. I didn't have a choice. Neither did he. Not after learning about your daughter. Beyoncé looked down at Zara. At those eyes that were pure Kuan. What did he say? When you told him? Park hesitated. He didn't speak for a full minute. Just stared at the screen. Then he said, That's her. That's my daughter. I've worked for Mr. Jang for 8 years. I've never heard his voice sound like that. Like what? Broken. And grateful. At the same time. The words settled in Beyoncé's chest uncomfortably. He's going to want to meet her, Park continued. But he told me to tell you no pressure. Whenever you're ready. He'll wait. He'll wait, Beyoncé repeated. The man who built an empire on impatience is suddenly willing to wait? For you and his daughter? Yes, ma'am. I believe he'd wait forever. The safe house was in Gangnam, behind gates and security that looked normal but wasn't. Modern architecture. Clean lines. Money whispered in every detail. A Korean woman in her 50s, Mrs. Choi, greeted them warmly. Welcome. I've prepared rooms for you both. Your daughter will be comfortable here. Beyoncé carried Zara inside, taking in everything. Expensive furniture. Art on the walls. The kind of place she'd only seen in magazines. The bedroom they were given was larger than their entire Harlem apartment. King bed. Attached bathroom with a tub big enough to swim in. A smaller room connected. Already set up as a child space with toys and books. Someone had prepared for them. Mr. Jang is in the East Wing, Mrs. Choi said gently. He wanted me to tell you. He's available whenever you're ready. No rush. No pressure. After Mrs. Choi left, Beyoncé put Zara to bed in the cloud-shaped frame. Her daughter stirred. Mama? Where are we? Korea. We're safe here. Is Daddy here? The question hit harder than expected. Yes, baby. He's here. Can I meet him tomorrow? We'll see. But Zara was already drifting back to sleep. Beyoncé sat on the edge of the bed, watching her daughter breathe. In. Out. Alive. Safe. For now. A soft knock at the door. Beyoncé tensed. Come in. Kuan entered. And for the first time in 5 years they were in the same room. He looked the same. Older maybe. Lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before. But the same sharp features. The same careful way of moving. He stayed near the door. Giving her space. How's your shoulder? It'll heal. He nodded. Looked at Zara sleeping. Something in his expression cracked. She's beautiful. Beyonce didn't answer. Couldn't. I know you don't want to be here, he said quietly. I know you don't trust me, but I need you to understand something. The people who came after you, they used my organization, my resources. Someone I trusted betrayed that trust and put you in danger. So this is your fault. Yes. No hesitation. No excuses. I built something so big I couldn't see everything happening inside it. And you and Zara almost died because of my failures. The honesty surprised her. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to find everyone involved. And I'm going to end it. More violence. Yes. Because some problems only have violent solutions. Beyonce stood, crossed to him. They were close now. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, the same one from 5 years ago. I spent 5 years protecting her from you, she said, her Atlanta accent slipping through now that she was too tired to code switch. From your world. From everything you represent. And now I'm standing in your house, dependent on your protection. Do you know how that feels? Like you failed her. Like I failed her, Beyonce echoed, voice breaking. You didn't fail. You survived. You kept her safe for 5 years on your own. You're an amazing mother. Don't. She stepped back. Don't try to make this okay. Nothing about this is okay. I know. You killed someone. I watched you do it. I know. And now you want to meet your daughter like that doesn't matter? Kuan was quiet for a long moment. It matters. It will always matter. But she exists. And she's mine. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to be someone she can be proud of. You think you can just decide to be different? No. I think I can try. And fail. And try again. Until maybe eventually, I become the father she deserves. Beyonce wanted to argue. Wanted to stay angry. But exhaustion was setting in. She has questions, she said finally. About you. About why her hair is different from mine. About why people look at us sideways. About identity and belonging and things I don't have answers for. I'll answer them. All of them. Honestly. Even the hard ones. Especially the hard ones. He moved to the bed slowly. Knelt beside the cloud frame. Studied Zara's face with an intensity that made Beyonce's chest ache. I've done terrible things, he whispered. Hurt people. Destroyed lives. But I never had something worth protecting before. Not really. Not like this. And now. Now I'd burn everything to keep her safe. Beyonce believed him. That was the terrifying part. Zara woke the next morning to sunlight and unfamiliar smells. She sat up in the cloud bed, clutching her rabbit. The room was huge. Too big. Nothing like home. Mama. Right here, baby. Beyonce came out of the bathroom already dressed. How you feeling? Okay. Where are we? Korea. Remember? We talked about this. Zara nodded slowly. Are we staying? For a little while. Until it's safe to go home. When will it be safe? Beyonce didn't have an answer. A knock at the door. Beyonce tensed, then forced herself to relax. Come in. Kuan entered carrying a tray. Pancakes. Fruit. Orange juice. He stopped when he saw Zara staring at him. For a long moment they just looked at each other. Father and daughter meeting for the first time. Zara tilted her head, studying him with that serious expression she got when she was thinking hard. You look like me. Kuan's throat worked. Yes. I do. Are you my daddy? Beyonce held her breath. Kuan knelt, meeting Zara at eye level. Yes. I'm your father. My name is Kuan, but you can call me whatever feels right to you. Why weren't you there before? The question, asked with such simple directness, hit like a physical blow. Because I made mistakes, he said honestly. Big ones. And your mother was protecting you from those mistakes. Zara considered this. Mama says everybody makes mistakes. What matters is if you fix them. She's right. I'm trying to fix mine now. Zara reached out and touched his face. Traced the line of his jaw with small fingers. You have sad eyes. Like me. Kuan blinked rapidly. Do I? Mama says I got your eyes. That's why mine look different from hers. Your eyes are beautiful. Like amber and gold. What's amber? It's a precious stone. Very rare. Very special. Zara smiled then. Bright. Unguarded. Can I have pancakes? He laughed, the sound rough and genuine. Yes. As many as you want. Watching them, Beyoncé felt something shift inside her. Not forgiveness. Not trust. But maybe the beginning of possibility. After breakfast, Zara asked, Can you do my hair? Beyoncé looked up from her coffee. Your hair. It's all messy. The ribbons came out. Kuan glanced at Beyoncé uncertainly. I don't. I've never. I'll show you, Beyoncé heard herself say. They sat in the bedroom. Beyoncé demonstrated how to section Zara's hair. Softer than hers, with looser curls that needed different care. Showed him how to be gentle, how to work through tangles without pulling. Her hair is different from mine, Beyoncé explained. Not kinky like mine gets, but not straight like yours. She needs moisture, but not as much as I do. And we don't use the same products. Kuan listened intently, like he was memory. Human learning the most important lesson of his life. Why is her hair different? He asked. Because she's both of us. Black and Korean. And that comes with its own beauty and its own challenges. Zara chimed in. Miss Johnson at my old school said I was exotic. Mama said that's not a compliment. It's not, Beyoncé confirmed. You're not exotic. You're Zara. You're black and you're Korean and you're American and you're all of it at once. Kuan looked stricken. Kids say things to her? All the time. What are you? Where are you really from? Your mom's black but you don't look black. She's 4 and already dealing with identity questions I didn't face until I was 15. That's not right. No, it's not. But it's reality. And she needs both of us to help her navigate it. The weight of that settled between them. The files sat on Kuan's desk. Evidence of everything Beyoncé had uncovered. Shipping manifests. Financial transfers. Communications. Minjun stood beside the desk. Taeyong's network. He's been using your infrastructure for 18 months. Beyoncé entered the office. I need to see everything. Kuan looked up. You should rest. I've been investigating this for 3 months. I'm not resting. Show me what you've found. They spent hours going through documents, connecting dots, building a case. He's moving everything through New York and Philadelphia, Beyoncé said, highlighting connections. Using legitimate businesses as fronts. Businesses I own, Kuan said grimly. Did you know about any of this? No. But ignorance isn't innocence. I built this empire. I'm responsible for what happens inside it. The admission surprised her. Most men would make excuses, she said. I'm not most men. And this, he gestured at the files. This is unforgivable. Children being trafficked. Using my name, my resources. It ends now. How? He was quiet for a long moment. I can shut it down from inside. Expose everything. Burn the network to the ground. And yourself in the process? If necessary. Beyoncé studied him. You destroy your empire? For her? Yes. Without hesitation. Pretty words. Let me prove it. Before she could respond, Park entered. Sir. Taeyong knows they're here. He's demanding a meeting. The confrontation with Taeyong happened fast. Kuan agreed to meet at a neutral location, a restaurant in Gangnam. Beyoncé insisted on coming, despite his protests. He targeted me, she said firmly. I deserved to face him. They arrived at night. The Jade Dragon was elegant, expensive, the kind of place where criminal business happened behind closed doors. Taeyong waited in a private room. Tall, handsome, charming smile that didn't reach his eyes. You actually came. And brought her. His gaze slid to Beyoncé. The journalist who caused all this trouble. I didn't cause trouble, Beyoncé said coldly. I exposed it. Semantics. Kuan cut in. You've been stealing from me. Using my infrastructure for trafficking. I've been expanding revenue streams. Making us both richer. We don't traffic humans. Especially children. Since when do you have morals? Taeyong laughed. You built this empire on violence and blood. And now you're falling apart over a woman. And a child you didn't even know existed. That child is my daughter. Exactly. A liability. A weakness. Taeyong leaned forward. You taught me that sentiment is death. That power is everything. And now you're weak. In her earpiece, Beyoncé heard Park's team moving into position. Kuan smiled. Cold. Calculated. You're right about one thing. Power is everything. So let me show you what real power looks like. He pulled out his phone. Pressed a button. Every screen in the restaurant lit up. Financial records. Shipping manifests. Communications. Everything documenting Taeyong's trafficking network. This is going to every law enforcement agency in 3 countries, Kuan said. Interpol. FBI. Korean National Police. Your operation is done. Taeyong's expression went cold. You'll burn yourself too. I'm prepared for that. Are you? Everything happened fast. Taeyong reached for a weapon. Park's team burst in. Gunfire erupted. Beyoncé hit the floor, years of covering conflict zones kicking in. She crawled toward cover as bullets shattered glass and wood. When it ended, Taeyong was dead. His network was exposed. And Kuan stood in the wreckage, blood on his hands but his daughter safe. The aftermath was brutal. News coverage. Korean crime figure exposes trafficking network. Dozens arrested. ***. Kuan cooperated fully. Testified. Named names. Gave prosecutors everything they needed. In exchange, immunity for himself. Protection for Beyoncé and Zara. A chance to start over. Beyoncé watched from the safe house as Kuan's empire crumbled. Saw his photo on every news channel. Heard analysts debate whether he was a hero or a criminal saving himself. She didn't know what to think. Mama, when is Daddy coming home? Zara asked. Soon, baby. Is he in trouble? He's fixing his mistakes. That's good. Mistakes should be fixed. If only it were that simple. 2 months later, the testimony concluded. The prosecutions began. Trafficking networks across 3 continents collapsed. And Kuan was offered something he'd never expected, freedom. Conditional. Monitored. But freedom. The deal included new identities. Witness protection. A fresh start. They chose Vancouver. A city with water. With diversity. Where a black woman, a Korean man, and their biracial daughter could exist without constant questions. 6 months later, Beyoncé stood on a beach watching Zara chase waves. Kuan joined her. They stood in comfortable silence. She asked about my old life yesterday, he said. What did you tell her? That I thought I was important. But I was wrong about what important meant. And now I know. Important is being here. Teaching her to skip stones. Answering her questions about why her hair is different. Being someone she can be proud of. Beyoncé looked at him. Are you happy? I'm trying to be. Learning to be. He paused. What about you? I'm adjusting. To normal. To safety. To us. Is there an US? She considered. I don't know yet. But we're building something. For her. And maybe for us too? Maybe. Ask me again in a year. He smiled. I can wait. They built a small life. Normal jobs. Regular routines. Zara in school where half the kids were mixed or Asian, where her existence didn't feel like a constant explanation. But it wasn't perfect. Beyoncé still had nightmares. Still looked over her shoulder. Still struggled with trusting Kuan fully. And Zara still asked hard questions. Mama, why do some black kids say I'm not really black? Because people are ignorant, baby. You're black. You're Korean. You're both. But where do I fit? Everywhere. Nowhere. You make your own space. Is that what you did? Every day of my life. That evening, as the sun set over the Pacific, Zara sat between them on the porch. Tell me a story, she demanded. Beyoncé and Kuan exchanged glances. What kind of story? Kuan asked. A real one. About brave people. Beyoncé began. Once upon a time there was a woman who chased truth. She was black and brilliant and refused to be invisible. And there was a man who built a kingdom in shadows. He was powerful and dangerous and lost. What happened? Zara asked. They met. Fell in love. Made mistakes. Big ones. And when those mistakes came back to hurt them, they had to choose. Protect what they'd built or build something better. What did they choose? Kuan touched Zara's cheek. They chose you. Zara nodded. That was a good choice. The best choice, Beyoncé agreed. Later, after Zara was asleep, Kuan found Beyoncé on the porch. Do you regret calling me? He asked. She thought about it. Really thought. No. I regret we lost 5 years. That Zara didn't know you. But calling you? No. You saved us. You saved me first. How? By walking away. By showing me what I was. By giving me a reason to want to be better. It took you 5 years to figure that out. I'm a slow learner. She laughed. Yes, you are. He sat beside her. I love you. I loved you 5 years ago. I loved you every day you were gone. And I love you now. You have no right to love me. I know. But I do anyway. Beyoncé looked at him. At this man who destroyed an empire for their daughter. Who showed up every day trying to be better. You're right, she said. You have no right. But I love you anyway. God help me, I love you anyway. He kissed her. Gentle. Grateful. Full of promises and hope and years of longing. When they pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. Thank you. For giving me another chance. Don't waste it. I won't. I swear on our daughter. And for the first time in his life, Jang Kuan understood what real strength looked like. Not violence. Not control. Not power over others. But the courage to be vulnerable. To choose love over fear. To build instead of destroy. Real strength was a 4-year-old girl with golden brown skin and amber eyes who believed he could be a good man. And he would spend the rest of his life proving her right. The end. If this story touched your soul, if it made you feel something real, I need you to do something for me. This isn't just entertainment. This is a story about identity, about second chances, about Black women who survive and thrive against all odds. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications. Share this with your sister, your cousin, your best friend who needs to hear that love can cross any border. Drop a comment. Do you believe people can change? Would you have called him? Where are you watching from? Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for being here. Until next time, keep believing in the impossible. ****